Hello and welcome everybody to the front nine coverage of the 2019 Mid-America Open. This is round 2. We have Nate Perkins on the microphone as my co-commentator. How's it going, Nate?
Dude, thank you so much, GK Pro, for coming out and filming this round. I'm so happy to be watching disc golf here at Harmony Bends.
Absolutely. One of the best courses I've ever gotten to watch on film. We have Nikko Locastro, Emerson Keith, Alex Russell, and Gavin Rathbun from Illinois on the lead card.
Yeah, some pretty good scores at this course. Overall, not as low as we're used to seeing out on tour. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like watching a 6 down being one of the hot rounds. Yeah, not very often. 6 down is normally like maybe third card, fourth card status, depending on where we're at.
Yeah, so we have some players having to play some golf here, and on this course, even though it's a really wooded track, there is some serious placement golf on these par 4s and par 5s. Hole number 1, if you really want to get a 4 in this, as we watched in round 1, you have to blast your first tee shot, and then your second shot has to be very meticulously placed on this snaking fairway.
Yeah, and you can see just how much OB there really is. And really the hardest thing about this hole is this final approach to the green right here. The basket is only 10, 12 feet in front of this OB ledge right here. So if you don't clear that, we saw a couple shots, including Nikko's, come up short.
And I think with the OB right in front of the green with those flags, I think it is going to force some players to play a little bit safer than if those flags were not there. Nikko looked like he was trying to go same hyzer flip as round 1. Didn't quite get it over.
It's going to be safe, but just a little out of position. And here is Emerson Keith from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. If you don't know his name yet,
you will.
Yeah.
That was the hyzer flip that Nikko was looking to throw, and that was pretty much exactly where you want to be. He'll have a nice shot for his second placement there. And then Alex Russell, who's been having a pretty consistently solid year. Signing with Innova in 2019, and he's really been putting on a show all season.
Yeah, a ton of great finishes. And this is a guy who I personally, I try and model a lot of my shots off of him because it's so simple. Everything is so simple, and that putt is just so simple and effective.
And with a almost opposite play style of Alex Russell, we have Gavin Rathbun from Illinois, up where I'm actually originally from. He throws a country mile, as some would say. And that was a very solid tee shot.
Yeah, it was a star destroyer from Gavin. He's also pretty stoked to be back on Innova.
Oh, definitely.
Just a little early out of the hand, similar to his tee shot. And this is why I really love Alex's game right here. He added that Nate Sexton hop during the offseason, and he told me that it was adding about 30 to 40 feet consistently to his forehand drives, which is monumental in one season.
And with the added power, it's interesting to see that forehand he just threw as a flip-up forehand, which is a really solid tool to have, especially on a course like this.
With a boss, too.
Absolutely. With a 13-speed driver, nonetheless. And Nikko has been finding some cabbage very early on in this hole, and he is still pretty out of position. He's going to have to throw something pretty solid to get up to that basket.
So Emerson went recoil off the tee, and then that is a stiletto right there, and he loves to forehand the stiletto.
Yeah, that's a perfect position. I mean, he has probably a putter approach to the basket for that birdie.
Whoa.
And I'm not surprised to see this whatsoever from Gavin. Any opportunity he can get to go over the top, he's probably going to. And he has an absolute cannon for an arm. So be prepared for some very flashy shots from this kid.
Yeah, the kid loves to throw hard. And he kind of took one back right there.
He took his medicine, which is
laid
good.
Off on it. It's going to be an AVR approach from Alex.
I think he stayed in.
A little too turned over. Looks like he might have found some.
And this is a tough stance from Nikko. Kind of had to short arm that backhand, but that's...
Yeah. That is a tough shot right there to get everything. You see how he kind of like put his full body into that one.
And then Emerson, I think this is his third shot, correct?
Yes, it is. And it's interesting to see him opt for this like forehand approach right here. And I know it looks like it lines up great for just like a little soft hyzer putter, but this kid is so good at that little touchy forehand shot.
And he landed that super soft and flat. Gavin pitching up there, maybe giving it kind of a half run. And then Alex, I think he did land in bounds after that. Kind of turned over approach. Just off the top of the basket.
Yeah, Alex has had some really solid finishes this year.
Oh, and he's been on camera multiple times. I'm now beginning to learn his bag just from how many rounds I've been able to commentate with him on it. So,
yeah. Trying to recall, I believe he made the lead card at
Texas State's was one of them.
Ledgestone as well.
Ledgestone.
Yeah, he made the lead card after a pretty hot first round at Lake Eureka, which we are about to embark on a 3-round journey.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And then a very rare birdie on hole 1 from Emerson. That was a pretty picture-perfect play. And moving quickly into hole number 2, we saw yesterday for round 1. This is a very challenging par 4 that these players are facing. And I noticed that the tee is pushed way farther back, and the basket is also pushed back about 100 feet from where it normally is in the recreational layout. As you can see, it snakes down this tight corridor off to the right, and the basket is way up in this beautiful rock green. Pretty much off the tee, you have to lace this shot.
Yeah, you have to cover ground because look up here at this green, Brian. It's maybe 25 feet from left to right, and it slopes severely from left to right, straight toward an OB cliff.
Yeah, so this placement off the tee to even give yourself a look at an upshot is crucial. So whatever you can, pretty much whatever your bread and butter is.
Yeah, and again, during round 2, this one played a full stroke over par.
Stiletto again, I assume?
Just a very consistent release. Next time we see him throw a forehand, just watch. His footwork is the same every time, and he actually looks down at his feet right before he throws, and that's just to kind of reset himself and to not really look at the tree he's aiming to miss,
Yep, exactly.
And there's that wraith that we saw from Nikko during round 1. He was really lacing some rollers during that first round.
Some of the best rollers I've seen on camera, to be honest with you. And that does actually get pretty far up there. If he can get creative, he still might have a look at getting a birdie. And this fairway actually lines up perfectly for Alex's favorite shot.
Yeah, this is another boss.
That's so smooth.
It's
tiny pop-up at the mid-flight.
It's really impressive to be that consistent with such a fast disc.
Yeah. And then Gavin going with the more overstable sidearm option, and he has positioned himself pretty nicely.
Yeah.
And even if they're in the middle of the fairway, look at the shot that they have to pure if they want a birdie. Double-tiered green. I'm thinking this is a rock that he's throwing.
And that looked like a beautiful release.
And as long as he's in bounds, he has a circle to look at the basket, so pretty solid from where he was at.
I believe this is going to be an Explorer from Emerson. I imagine we're going to see this disc quite a bit here in the woods.
That's going to bend a little bit more.
Oh, and it does get a little kick.
And that's the thing about this. If you want to put this close to the basket, you have to throw over that initial mound of rocks, which is very challenging. I liked Gavin's play of trying to throw a mid a little bit higher through the fairway. But it's, I guess at this point, getting it up there for a look is pretty important. And Alex was just trying to get himself out of trouble there.
And, we really didn't give Andrew Presnell enough credit on his shot yesterday. If you guys haven't seen round 1, go back to GK Pro's channel and tune into round 1 coverage. Andrew actually just laced this one from a similar position to Emerson right there inside circle 1. So go check that shot out.
And not to overlook Nikko's beautiful forehand roller that he just snaked out of the woods there. Fortunately, didn't have a look at a upshot to the basket.
Man, even that shot is so touchy, and Alex lays one down really soft.
Pretty much what we're saying here is this hole is pretty tough.
Yeah. And that OB is just ready for anything that rolls. Nikko going to try and toss this Cenas in.
And I'm sure he's pretty happy with just taking a par in this one.
This is definitely in this kid's jump putt range. And even a soft little putter jump putt like that has potential to kind of stand up and roll
Especially
down.
if it hits the cage or any sort of metal and doesn't go in the basket. So you could tell a lot of these runs that the players were making for the basket were trying to make it, but they were also trying to throw it in a little bit softer than they normally would. Taking the par here is probably going to save you some strokes in the field for sure. Moving into hole number 3. The tight woods does not let up on them. 262 feet, I believe, pushing back into the woods, snaking through these soldier trees in the middle of the fairway. Looks like a little bit of a flex shot is the optimal route to get to this bucket. Such a tough-looking pin position for such a short hole.
And a really fast green.
Yeah, seriously.
We saw a couple rollaways during round 1. I'm assuming that's an anchor, a retro anchor.
And he's just playing a straight hyzer. He's not trying to get it to finish to the right. He just wants to give himself some sort of look at a putt. And he did. He's about pin high. Pretty solid.
And again, just coming out a little early. You see those hips kind of opening up maybe a little too wide.
And what's interesting is I've watched Nikko play for a really long time, and he does it on purpose. And I don't know if he knows that he's doing it, but he opens his hips up on purpose to take pace off the disc, to throw those little flex shots that he's known for throwing.
Okay.
But when it comes to that type of body English, if you're off and you're not feeling it, the disc is going to go exactly where your hips are going.
And we saw Alex just a little late, really showing you how tight this gap is. And even on that shot, Gavin ripped it. And he was chain height right there. Just a few feet to the right. What a great shot.
Snaking through a tree on the right side. Definitely a nice flight there from Gavin.
This does not look like a great spot to be.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah. He's going full power overhand shot right there just to get back into the fairway.
Wow.
I don't even think he has a putt. Maybe he does. They're showing us a little replay. Maybe he's got a little something. Okay, maybe 50, 60 feet for a par.
But it just goes to show you on this hole that if you kick any one of those little trees in the middle of the fairway, you could just hit and roll all the way down there. Not a bad approach there.
This has to be just a layup, yeah. Oh, and even that tried to stand up and roll on him. Wow.
Okay.
And look at this. Look at this,
smooth.
Brian. Look how far to the left he's actually going to bring this disc. His putt is so unique in the fact that he's got that extra hinge. No one really on the top level is committing to a hinge the way that Emerson does.
A lot of spin putters do go straight in to out when they're putting.
Yeah.
They want to keep it as simple as possible, but he's actually wrapping it almost like he's playing catch.
Yeah, he is. He's tossing it in every time, and it's not the way that you would teach it, but he has it figured out, and he doesn't miss much.
Oh, no.
No. Just kind of a real jerk movement right there at the end to hit top band.
Yeah, really not characteristic from what we remember Nikko as when we were kind of coming up in the sport watching him play. He used to be the putter that would knock down absolutely everything within 70 feet, to be honest with you. That was a bit of a shame to watch.
And was that a double from Nikko? Double bogey from Nikko, single bogey from Alex?
Yeah, I think
it was quite a big swing. Emerson birdied it and took 3 on him, and he's up 4 after 3 holes.
Yeah, and with this course, it really, especially when you're in this stretch of the woods, it doesn't quite let up on you, so you have to snap out of it quick. Hole number 4, we saw Nikko pure this line yesterday with a subtle hyzer flip pushing downhill. Doesn't allow you to throw straight nose down, especially as a right-handed player, so we're going to see a couple different strategies. Yesterday, we saw Trevor Harbolt go putter hammer.
Yeah, those were some epic shots from Trevor during round 1.
Emerson, I'm assuming, is going a little bit more textbook play.
It looks like
the line looks nice.
Putters. It's going to drift long. Yeah, just a little long, but a really well-controlled shot.
Yeah, the line was really smooth. Should be about 30 to 35 from the basket. Yanked on it a little bit, but it looks like it is snaking through those trees. And
no way.
That is a gift from Jesus Christ himself.
Oh my goodness.
And you take what you can get on this course for sure. There's so many trees out here that you can't really think twice about a good kick or a bad kick.
That missed everything. Let's see if Alex can do the same. There's very blessed fairway.
There's a lot of thick trees back there with a lot of overgrowth too. So to sneak through is really nice to have.
See if Nikko can respond to that double. Oh wow!
Almost a mirror image of his shot yesterday.
Yeah, beautiful shot just under the cage. Totally tossing it in.
Yeah, with spin putters, there's a lot of different types of spin putters, but he is definitely one of the more aggressive spin putting strokes that we see in the MPO division.
And that is much more of what you're used to seeing right there. The way that Alex brings it right down to right below his waist, right down on that right hip, and just straight up and straight back down.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of players with developing putts similar to Alex's style. Eagle McMahon, a few other players like that are notable with that kind of... It's a spin push, I would say, but it's more heavy on the spin. Nikko cashing in his birdie putt.
And, as I'm sitting here watching these players and commentating on them, I'm trying to learn as much as I can from them because I want to putt like these guys.
Yeah, especially knocking down those 30-footers consistently like we're seeing Emerson. Gavin also knocking down his birdie on a very challenging par 3.
Did we go all-star? We did.
I think we did. Star frame. Not too shabby there, folks. Hole number 5, pushing uphill really far, bending to the right, and the basket is going to be tucked back into the woods. So the designer is really wanting the players to throw an aggressive tee shot here.
I just love that rock work.
It's
that stonework right in the middle of the hole.
Yeah, and shout outs to the players in the area. I know Zach Johnson especially has been out here numerous times whenever I've been out there doing coursework and trimming and weed whacking and doing stuff like that. So you can tell the people who live in the Columbia area take a lot of pride in this place.
That's another recoil.
A little bit too much hyzer angle there, but still should have a look to get up and down for a par. I'm guessing this is I forget what this yellow disc is. I think it's a Boss, but he throws the longest flex shots with this that I've ever seen from a forehand player.
Yeah, that's definitely a Boss. I think that's his...
Oh, that's slow drift.
More neutral Boss, but yeah, such a beautiful flight he's got out of that.
Little rough ground play on that, but pretty solid positioning.
Gavin's throw is fun to watch.
It's super fun, and he hits the disc so clean, and he's just so lanky that whenever he is on, it's crazy how many revs he gets in the disc. And I think that was a rock that he threw, it looked like. That was dead straight.
And it's funny, both Emerson and Gavin are, I don't know what you would say, but they're somewhat apprentices of Nikko. Nikko has taken both players under his wing and kind of, showed him the ropes a little bit on the tour life and taught him a few things and just having fun with them out on the road. So it's really cool to see them all playing together.
And Nikko fading a little bit off to the left. Emerson trying to play a little bit more aggressive and trying to go with that forehand roller to potentially give him a shot at birdie, but he is going to get stopped up in that fairway.
Lining up forehand roller.
I think he's going really
air
overstable.
Shot. Oh, wow. That looks gorgeous. Is it going to get there?
Kind of a nasty reaction off that little tree. But he'll have definitely a circle 2 look.
Man, that was such a beautiful shot, too. The line to get there is so tough. You have to penetrate straight for so long.
Yeah, it's almost like the hole's wanting you to throw a big, flexing Anheuser off the tee and then a flexing Anheuser with a forehand. Kind of a crazy shape.
Cruising right past the cameraman into the bullseye.
Completely negating my description of the hole, just going straight.
And there's that Bruins justice. This saves him quite a few strokes, especially in the woods.
It's going to get him to about 20.
And the thing about this hole, Brian, is it only has access from the left and right. I mean, Nikko's just outside circle 1, and he has almost nothing.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, I guess you could call it the shape of the fairway. I mean, the green is really, really protected. And
yeah, you have to push. You can't be short of the pin and hope for a putt.
And Emerson is feeling that 28 to 33-foot putt, knocking down his third of the round. And that's a pretty solid par save for how far back he was.
Yeah, and he just seems so relaxed.
Yeah, he looks like he's definitely feeling in control. Alex knocking into par as well. He got some rough ground play. I thought that forehand he threw was going to get way up there.
Whew.
That one had a little bit of mustard on it.
Just the way that enters so flat and on the pole. We've definitely over the years seen quite a few of those 15-footers of his come back out.
And it potentially could be like how low he does release, and he does kind of throw one of those rising putts, but it does come in pretty nose down. So if you do hit dead center pole, it could potentially pop out. But moving into hole number 6, again, I spoke about it yesterday. I love the way that the designer is making the players throw a subtle hyzer with something medium stability or understable if they want to actually park the hole, or they can try playing a flare with something faster and more overstable.
It's definitely one of those learning curves. You start to figure out as you play longer and longer that overstable doesn't always mean it's going to get further left.
Sometimes it actually means it's going to get less left.
Yeah.
And Gavin looks like he threw a solid shot. Didn't quite catch the catch cam there, but it looks like it potentially got up there.
So Emerson is going with the Explorer. It looked a little too flat to really push as far left as he was hoping.
Yeah, a little bit too far forward, but still circle 2 look.
That's an Excalibur. So Alex is going for that overstable kind of skip play.
Yeah, and he doesn't throw as many backhands as he does forehands. So I'm assuming when it comes to the, those types of hyzer shapes, he's just going to try to play something as simple as possible.
And this is the gateway spirit from Nikko.
And you could tell with a spirit being as overstable as it is, he was trying to play some sort of flare. And everybody really seemed to push their shots to the exact same spot, which to me shows that this hole is shaped for something very specific, which is really enjoyable. Gavin has put his flick a little bit too far away. He should have some sort of circle 2 look.
And that was Nikko, left with nothing. Just had to pitch that one out. Here's Alex from a similar spot, also just laying that one up. Let's see if Emerson has any kind of line. Oh, and he's definitely wide open here. He's going with the straddle on the hill.
Doesn't quite cash it.
Gavin for par. Yeah, it's a pretty tough bogey.
Yeah, tough bogey, and like we were saying, like on this hole, hitting the gap is not enough. You have to hit the gap, and you also have to match the shape of the fairway, which is definitely a pro caliber par 3. We see, Emerson playing the one medium stability to understable disc that he has, and he was the closest one to the basket. So a couple bogeys and some pars, and we're going to move into hole number 7. This is one that I'm interested to see the scoring spread on, because I see 510 feet and I see elevation. You think that these players with power can get down there, but these trees overhanging the gap are making it so the players have to throw super low. So I don't know if this is going to play more of a 3, and most of the players are just trying to get out of the gap.
Yeah, we even saw top players yesterday during round 1 throwing mid-range off the tee and just playing this one for a 3.
Yeah, this is one where the players are going to probably take their medicine and not necessarily go for the 4 or go for the 2 here. Got to get my numbers right.
Emerson does have driver. There's that recoil, and that's just a little early. It's got a good flight to it.
Snakes to the left side, and the tricky part about the hole is that distance was good, but
he's circle 2 though, right there. That's definitely further than anything we saw yesterday. And if anyone can reach it, it's this line right here. It's going to be a flip up forehand. He's going to throw this one low and try to get it back up to flat. And look how much that thing actually turned. If he hits that right, he could definitely track this pin down.
Yeah. Oh, and there's not many players at this event that have that shot.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Nikko's going to try to take the same strategy as Emerson.
Yeah, and height here is really important. You see, he threw a beautiful shape. If he gets that one just a few feet higher, he's getting all the way down there.
And I do know Gavin, if he gets a hold of a sidearm, can absolutely smash them. A little bit more conservative play, but still, circle 2, looks like he does have a look at it.
Alex is going to try and toss this pig in here. I know he's been loving this disc. Oh.
And I love that play to actually run the basket with something that overstable, because if you miss, you're right next to the basket.
Yeah. And I actually misspoke earlier, Brian. Gavin's actually playing with a mixed bag this year.
That's what I was wondering, because
Yeah.
Gavin has been playing with a mixed bag for quite some time. He has been sponsored by numerous companies. And
Yeah.
for a little while in Illinois, he did take a brief hiatus from the game. I think he was just working and saving some money. And now he is back on tour, I believe, and he'll be hitting some of the bigger tournaments this year.
Yeah, and he's putting with a Gateway Warlock right now.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I believe that's a beaded or a beadless putter. I think it's the complement to the Wizard of their lineup.
Yep.
Emerson taps in his par. I believe Gavin's going to be doing the same. And if you are unsponsored, I think there is definite merit to not necessarily picking one company. I think it's great to try what discs are out there and what work for you, and Gavin definitely takes full advantage of that. Alex snagging a par here. And that's what I'm saying about this hole right now. It's I think the 3 is what the players are looking for. Potentially take something a little bit more aggressive to get the 2. But 3 is not shabby. Moving into 8, this is one that the players want to get a birdie on, and potentially, if you're feeling a little frisky, running at the basket for an ace. We did see Jacob Sanders yesterday in round 1 nail the cage. So let's see if these players have something to offer here. Emerson going justice.
Right on line.
Yeah, I think if you're going for a birdie, that's a no-brainer shot shape. I mean, obviously, Alex is going to go for it as well. I think, is that a pig that he has in his hand?
Yes. Really similar disc to what Emerson just threw. Really just overstable,
glideless putter. Didn't quite get the ante up the hill that he wanted. Yeah, this is if you have the shot here, this is definitely what you're doing. All these great backhand players are opting for the forehand.
And that's actually a zone from Gavin.
It is a zone, yeah. He does throw some Discraft in his bag, and I think with a mixed bag, a zone or any disc of that type of stability is really, really important to have in the bag. Hits the cage and luckily sits down next to the basket.
Yeah, no surprises here. This hole 8 was playing, once again, the easiest hole on the course during round 2. Almost half a stroke under par. And you can see why. It's pretty straightforward. There is some danger. You can bogey it.
Definitely.
If you hit early, there's
hit
an
the cage
OB
on
creek.
a putt.
Sure, yeah.
But any of these
rollaways.
uphill par 3s where there is a backstop, you can kind of jam a driver into it, whatever you're comfortable throwing at the basket. Not really too much need for speed control in this. Hole number 9. So we go from the short hole in the course to a bit longer of a shot, double fairway. Nate, what exactly are we seeing here from the players?
Yeah, like you said, you've got a couple options off the tee, and based on where you land, you can decide to take that left gap, looks a little tighter, or this right gap right here is really the more open one. But you're going to you have to decide whether you're going to lay that second shot up and play for the birdie 4, or whether you're going to attack this one. It is 684. There is an opportunity here for an eagle if you can pipe that second gap the entire way.
Exactly. And there is a couple options off the tee as well. We saw Trevor Harbolt yesterday go middle gap, and I think if you do want the eagle, that's what you're going to go for.
And he ripped it yesterday with a crank, right?
Definitely, and I think that is the aggressive eagle play. We have a recoil in his hand here.
So Emerson is going that left gap. And this is kind of like an end of a wraith. Emerson was telling me it's got a little bit of high speed turn and good stability.
And we're seeing a lot of players on tour reach for those types of slower distance drivers because they have the spin control to keep it gliding at the mid-flight. That was a great shot from Emerson, and Nikko is trying to match that shape. Just clips another tree. He seems to be just a tiny bit off on those drives.
Yeah, and just a tiny bit off can really weigh you down in the woods. Yeah. And Alex really does lean on that forehand in the woods, especially when there's a gap like this off the tee. No surprises to see him try and flip that boss up. Just punches it so forward, doesn't he?
Wow. That's all I have to say after watching that. I've played this course a few
position?
times. Oh, yeah. He is definitely, if he wants to throw that flex forehand to the basket, he definitely has permission from me.
This looks pretty tasty, though. Oh, and it is. He's up there in the second landing zone. What a beautiful forehand roller.
I love how Alex sticks to his game plan. He doesn't let anybody phase him. If anyone throws a aggressive shot, Alex sticks to his game plan, sticks to what he knows.
Yeah, Nikko just ripping a hyzer all the way up there. And
playing a little topspin, getting a little forward roll. And from that middle section of trees, though, it looks close to the basket. You do have to get creative on that shot to the green.
So it looks like Emerson is lining up that forehand and hyzer that you were talking about. Oh.
And if he had crested that hill, I think he would have been off to the races. And this eagle is in sight for Gavin.
This is a touchy shot, though. He hit it pretty pure. Oh, my goodness. He's inside circle 1.
My jaw is dropped.
Yeah, that was amazing.
This hole is tough. Wow.
And even after that major misfire from Emerson, he puts that justice right at circle's edge, and he still has an opportunity for a birdie 4.
No surprise, he reaches for the pig here. That's going to sit down.
Oh, putting from the rock.
Right on the edge of the cliff.
That'll be interesting.
Hopefully he's not afraid of heights. And as short of a shot as that was, the little tiny nose up, tiny anhyzer, and flat finish is something that I love watching Nikko throw. So much spin control in the disc.
Oh, and he gets it to fall.
Is it any surprise this round?
That wrist curl, though. Wow.
I mean, it's so unique and so specific to him. And
yeah,
with a spin putter, if a spin putter is on, they can rain putts from pretty much any distance. And he is feeling it right now. Gavin for eagle.
Let's go.
I've said wow probably too many times on this hole,
Dude,
but I've
it doesn't
played this
matter.
course and I've played this hole,
legendary.
and I've been okay taking 4s and 5s on this with pretty decent shots. That was an amazing 3 from Gavin.
Hey, we did say it was possible. I actually was just saying that. I wasn't quite sure if it was possible, but now we do know that it is possible.
Yes, he has proven us correct.
But Emerson Keith, 5 down through the front 9, and he's
Fantastic.
leading this card by
Yeah.
3, even after that eagle from Gavin. So this is great golf. What we're
Absolute
watching here.
putting clinic he's putting on. And thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to subscribe to GK Pro, and we will catch you soon for the back 9 of this round.